Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, stop this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. Everybody in this context refers to us and our cats. You are free to feel however you want about Rand. He's a fictional character. Please don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
I feel like pina coladas
And getting caught in the rain. If you're not into health food, if you have half a brain.
I'll be honest, I don't know any lyrics besides if you like pina coladas.
I mean, that's what I think the lyrics are. I could be
No,
wrong.
that sounds right. I don't know if I've ever heard that song, like, in real life. It's one of those that you just... No, it's on the Shrek soundtrack.
And as you guys know, we are the number one Shrek stans in the world, so...
Call us Everybody Hates Donkey.
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 That'll do, donkey. We say that a lot in this
What are you
house.
doing in my swamp?
God, the Shrek soundtracks really are so good. I know that's not like a ground-breaking statement, but someone really popped off with those.
In these trying times, you have to cling to the Shrek soundtrack in order to get through one of the world's top 10 worst books.
Yeah.
The other 9 are also in the Wheel of Time. This is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood wheelie time podcast.
You
I'm
bet.
Emily Jusha.
And I'm Sally Goodger.
You
Sorry,
bet.
I interrupted you.
How dare you!
I've interrupted the flow. Some people are so good and professional on their podcasts.
Some
and then
people
there's
have
us.
scripts. Can you believe that?
That could not be me.
Can you imagine the amount of work that would go into that? No, this is a ding dong podcast for ding dongs.
Correct.
Case in point.
This is live analysis. That's what you guys are getting. I don't think I moved the bookmark back. Yeah.
Did you get to read the first?
I did, and I
line?
almost started crying, so
Yeah, it's
let's not
pretty
talk about
upsetting.
it.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it at the end. So, yeah, case in point, in terms of ding dongs. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Ed, man. Ed.
Speaking of ding dongs.
Hey, Ed is standing directly in front of the microphone, so everyone be quiet while he speaks. That was groundbreaking. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. One small step for man, one giant leap for kitty kind.
Ed's got a PhD in literature.
Damn, that would be one in this house. Okay.
Ugh. I'd already
chapters
forgotten
this
what
time.
happens in the first chapter, and now I'm mad.
Yeah, so first chapter is a split Siuan and Perrin point of view. Very
Dynamic
short.
duo.
Yeah, dynamic. World's worst duo. Siuan is sitting in on yet another, quote, interrogation, unquote, of Semiraj. I'm putting it in quotes not because it's, like, code for torture, but because it's, like, the most mild questioning anyone's ever been subjected to, and this book seems to think that there's no in-between outright torture and mild social
questioning.
chatting.
Yeah, get to know you questions.
And that sort of false dichotomy is fuel for what is to come.
Yeah.
Which is that Siuan finally figures out how to, quote, solve her problem, and I know this is going to shock you. Like,
yeah.
hold on to your butts. But from the stellar mind of Robert Jordan, combined with Brandon Sanderson's unwilling hands, comes the revolutionary technique that will leave you speechless for solving problems involving difficult women. What is it? What could it be? It's spanking. I'll pause here for gasps of surprise.
Yeah, it's like instead of a laugh track, it's a gasp track.
Oh my god!
Everyone gasped now.
How could it be?
Are you kidding?
There
What?
hasn't been a bigger twist since fucking The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie.
Yeah, that's a good
No.
pull. I was going to say The Sixth Sense.
There hasn't been a bigger twist since The Sixth Sense. My favorite film.
It's a good film.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys. How did we get here?
I just, like, need to track the path through these
That'll
12
be your PhD
books. Yeah,
thesis,
that'll be my
tracking
thesis.
spanking and Wheel of Time into the depths of hell of one man's.
Yeah, poorly disguised fetish.
Yes, thank you.
It is, like, yeah, and to just, like, I don't know if we want to do, like, a really brief summary before we, like, crack this egg, but,
I don't... there's not
there
really
isn't
to
anything
summarize in my mind. Katsuan just is like, oh, Semiraj will never be able to... Semiraj is able to intimidate us so thoroughly that the only way to reduce her in any way or, you know, throw her off her game is to humiliate her.
Yeah.
And humiliation involves, you know, the corporal punishment you would give to a child. I don't know why it took Katsuan this long to get to it, because it's not like this is groundbreaking. This is how every problem involving difficult women has been solved up until this point. Granted, it's usually the men who are doing the spanking, so maybe...
Maybe she needed to get over her womanly tendencies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Katsuan is like, everyone is just too in awe of Semiraj, and that's why we can't have any type of productive interrogation. And so what she proceeds to do is walk into the room and engage in a series of torture behaviors.
Yeah, like, Semiraj's food has been knocked to the ground, so she knocks Semiraj down.
Yeah.
Holding her up by her hair, and then forces her toward the food, and is like, you have to eat the food off the ground.
Off the ground. So one, that's physical violence, which they have been told not to do. And yeah, so she forces her to eat the food, and then she picks her up and spanks her in front of an audience.
Yeah,
like
she calls a bunch of people into the room.
there's like 10 other people in the room, and she's just spanking her for an unknown number of minutes, hours, days, who knows. And this, quote-unquote, breaks Semiraj because it's so humiliating. She just starts crying. And then Katsuan forces her to then literally eat the food off the floor. She's not given an opportunity to eat the new food that has been brought to her. So, again, these are all torture behaviors. It's like Rand, I guess, is only like torture is only physical. I just don't want you to like physically hurt a woman. It's totally fine to psychologically torture her, humiliate her.
Spanking is also physical punishment.
You're right.
I don't know why that's, for whatever reason, Katsuan gets that through the gaps. I guess it's because Rand is not supervising this in any way, so he has no way of knowing besides asking directly whether people are following his orders.
Yeah, and I'm not an expert, obviously, on the kind of like rhetoric or even techniques that people use to quote unquote torture people. But like from my limited understanding of it, dehumanization is a huge part of that. Like you are dehumanizing a person, stripping them of everything that makes them feel empowered. And it's just awful, obviously. So I feel like I've been really hung up on this, but this whole, like, we're not going to torture Katsuan thing is so, or not going to, I wish we would maybe. I'm not going to torture Semiraj thing is silly. Like, it's exactly what's happening. It's disgusting. Like, this whole scene is horrible. And, like, I feel like there are a series of, like, point of views of, like, women doing just, like, absolutely heinous things in this section. I guess Swan is, like, fine or whatever. It's just Katsuan and Tuan. And it's like, what am I supposed to get out of this? Am I supposed to be like, wow, look at them solving problems?
Yeah, we're supposed to feel some aspect of, like, triumph because a problem that has been lingering has now been solved or progress has been made forward in terms of Tuan's point of view. I don't know if she really solves any problems. So yeah, it's a real, like... Again, so sorry we keep using this word, but it's a real girl boss framing in terms of, like, a woman is making an accomplishment and the accomplishment is not held on any sort of moral or ethical framework in terms of whether this should even have been accomplished.
Yeah.
We're just supposed to feel impressed because it's a woman who's done it.
Yeah. Like, can you believe that Katsuan finally broke Semiraj, the most imposing Forsaken in the whole world?
Yeah, and it's like, Bestie, I've only known Semiraj for half a book.
Yeah.
I don't actually feel that way about her.
Yeah, I also
For one thing.
don't believe Siuan has anything important to tell you.
No.
I'm, like, not invested in this plot of, like, what are we going to learn from Siuan at all? How to desanguinate somebody in 900 different ways?
Yeah. What? Who cares?
How to make friends and desanguinate people?
Bye, Semiraj.
Like, what's happening?
Like, we do know Semiraj has some information. Maybe she knows what Demandred is up to. Maybe she can give them intel on Grendel, blah, 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 blah. Like, maybe she knows stuff about the other Forsaken. But, quote-unquote, breaking her and leading that to any actual sort of, like, information is just... It's gonna take a lot longer, and I know that this book, we're not on that framework anymore. We're not on that timeline anymore.
Yeah. So, 0 stars, 100,000 notes on this chapter.
Yeah.
And on Cadswan as a character.
Oof.
Cadswan is also very concerned about the way the other Aes Sedai perceive her. She's like, I have to be the one who does this because that will keep my standing.
Yeah, she's like, I haven't engaged with Semiraj thus far because I'm happy to sit back and watch the other ones fail because they can fail without losing any face. Mm-hmm. If I were to go in there and use some technique that doesn't work, then I would lose standing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, God. And it's like, at least she's self-aware of this enough to link it to Semiraj's own behavior.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, there's something there, but I don't know.
Yeah. Horrid. The whole thing is horrid and despicable and very, very The Wheel of Time TM. So.
The rest of this chapter is Perrin's point of view, and Perrin goes from, I have no idea how this logic train happens. He goes from getting information from Grady that it is going to be physically impossible to move the amount of refugees that Perrin wants to move through gateways in a, condensed timeline, to he's decided he needs to re-enter Teleron Riyadh and, get some training. I really don't know how we got from point A to point B, and I don't want to reread it to figure it out. But those are the two important things. Grady is like, I physically cannot maintain a gateway long enough or big enough for large groups of people to go through. You have 100,000 people, so simply maneuvering them through the gateways would take an unbelievable amount of time. Balwer's done the math. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Perrin's like, fine, I guess we'll just move as many as we can every day and call it good. And then at the end of this chapter, Perrin's like, the last time I was in Teleron Riyadh, I tried to kill Hopper, which was bad, obviously. And I literally cannot even remember when that happened.
Yeah, I was reading that too, and I was like, what?
It can't have been Knife of Dreams. It can't have been...
Yeah, I feel like it was many, many books ago.
Maybe it was like Winter's Heart. Maybe.
I truly don't remember.
At the beginning, it would have been... Right, maybe it was right after Fail got kidnapped, but... Dunno.
I don't remember the last time we saw a Hopper.
Yeah, but apparently Brandon is like, we gotta wrap this plot up somehow. Perrin's relationship with Hopper, with Teleron Riyadh, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And, this is the part of, this is the beginning of our newest Perrin subplot. Thankfully, it does not involve rescuing a woman, so it's going to be more bearable in that way. But it's just going to be Perrin doing shenanigans in Teleron Riyadh with Hopper, which, as these things go, isn't terribly offensive, but it will have a lot of Brandon Sanderson flavor training montage to it.
Nice.
But most of that will be in the next book. Our next chapter is Siuan, as she discovers, while she's in the Aes Sedai camp, that Aleida has traveling, which everyone, of course, is up in arms about. Siuan pieces together the important bits, that it was probably Bayanin who told Aleida, which I guess this is the first I remember hearing of the rebel Aes Sedai knowing that Bayanin left. So that was a little confusing to me. Siuan sends word to Gareth Bryn to be like, hey, watch out, now this is a tactic that might be used against us. Hilariously, it isn't, because Aleida doesn't, use this for her armed forces, which is another example of a ludicrous Aleida idiocy.
Yeah.
The second she got traveling, should have been cool, sweet, surprise attack.
Yeah.
All my forces against this little army.
Yeah.
But whatever. And Siuan's all proud of herself for considering Gareth Bryn, unlike all the other Aes Sedai. She's not like the other girls.
No, she's
dating a military man. What's that song about? Army wives or whatever?
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever. Siuan is an army
Siuan
wife.
is an army wife. Salute.
And then Siuan has an encounter with Sharina, who's one of the novices that we keep hearing about, and is sort of considered the, like, pinnacle of what other Aes Sedai consider the novice problem. You know, the problem with Egg just opening the books for anyone to join. Which is that Sharina's old. End of.
Yeah, Sharina's old and is, like, not able to be manipulated.
Yeah, Sharina's old, has some fucking self-confidence.
Yeah.
Isn't an adolescent.
Yeah.
So, isn't going to, like, you know. Whoa.
Yeah, isn't going to just be like, yeah, okay, I'm 18 years old. Why don't I go hunt a domestic terrorist cell moving around the continent?
Yeah, Sharina has some fucking, like, know-how about the rest of the world, the real world, and about other people. So, yeah, she's a little harder to manipulate than a bunch of 17-year-olds.
Yeah, I also think
Which really pisses off the Aes Sedai.
Yeah, it's funny to me. Siuan points out at one time, she's like, Sharina knows how to be humble and, like, knows how to interface with people, and she's basically like, other Aes Sedai don't know how to do that. And I'm like, yeah, because none of you are properly socialized.
Yeah, you were all raised in the tower at the age of 17 by other freaks.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, maybe Sharina intimidates you because she's a functional person.
Yeah, everyone else is like, hey, it's us, the cult besties.
Stupid.
We're here to tell you about how Aes Sedai are the absolute best.
Yeah, because Sharina, like, immediately, Siuan's big deal is that, like, the Hall of the Tower let everyone in the camp know that Aleda discovered traveling, which is inducing mass panic. They, like, didn't, quote-unquote, seal it to the flame, which means anyone could listen in on their conversation, so now everyone's just, like, panicked and up in arms, and Sharina pieces together that, like, Lelaine did this on purpose.
In order to seize power eventually.
Yeah, so Siuan's like, oh, hey, she's got a brain in her head.
The Aes Sedai are legitimately, like, if Mormons had superpowers. Like, suddenly the rest of the world would have to, like, acknowledge that. But they'd still be Mormons, you know, with their freak behavior, and I can say all this because I'm an expert.
Yeah.
They'd still be, like, the worst people to have at parties.
Yeah. Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah.
They're just, like, so, I don't know, unsocialized is really the only word I can think of these days. Because, it's like, do you people not know how to behave in the world?
Yeah, including this girl boss moment where Siuan, there's a woman splains to a messenger how to do his job.
Yeah.
Siuan's like, repeat back this message to me. And this guy's like, literally all I do is pass messages. Guaranteed I will get the correct message to him. And she's like, I don't give a fuck what you do. Oh my god, just do what I say. And he's like, okay.
Here's your message.
I mean, like, yeah, you're a soldier. You should probably just follow orders and repeat it back if that's what they request. But, like, girl.
Like, why would
behavior on
he be employed as a messenger if he was bad at it?
Yeah.
Like, the army, for all its faults, the military
This is our top messenger, Lying Greg.
He's just so charismatic. How could we fire him?
He's very handsome, but he does tell so many lies.
He just likes to fiddle with the messages for fun.
We can't tell if he's doing it on purpose as deliberate sabotage or if he just forgets.
Yeah, God bless him.
God. I wish Lying Greg was in charge of this book.
Yeah, that'd be really funny if he was just like, I'm in it for the plot, LOL.
Unreliable narrator TM. Yeah. Okay, last chapter is called Gambits in homage to our gambler, Matt, I would assume.
Or Gambit from X-Men, who's gonna come in and start blowing people up.
Like... So, yeah, Tuon. Here she is. We get a very heavy-handed reminder that Tuon represents order and balance and stuff like that.
Boo! Tomato, tomato.
As opposed to Matt, who represents chaos and is a trickster, I suppose.
Laugh track. Applause.
For now.
For now. For about 12 more pages.
And this scene, we see Tuon interfacing with her court, for lack of a better word. It's unclear how much time has passed since she returned to Ebu Dar. We know that, like, Suroth is still being punished somewhere. Like, her hair needs to grow out before she can become Dekvol, one of the naked servants.
Yeah.
So, not, like, weeks or months, but also, like, maybe a very brief amount of time, because this is one of the first things Tuon does is announce that Seleucia, who has been her sort of undercover bodyguard, is now her truth speaker, which basically means that she can talk to Tuon and also talk for Tuon in these public settings.
I know that these roles are, like, allegedly important when everyone has, like, emperor worship or whatever, but I think it would be a lot funnier if Tuon had a jester.
Oh my god. A fucking court jester?
Yeah.
Make silly jokes in the background?
Yeah, about what Tuon is doing.
I think one of the ways we could have resuscitated the Ebu Dar plot is if, instead of having Matt be her sex slave, Tylee had Matt be her court jester.
Yeah, that would be really good.
And he was just the silly court jester when Tuon arrived.
He was just like, it's me, Jester boy.
Okay. Yeah, Matt should have been a court jester. What happens in this scene? Tuon announces that Seleucia is her new truth speaker. Tuon calls up Bezlin and is like, I know that you are plotting rebellion. And Bezlin's like, sure am, bitch. And we're like, cool, Bezlin.
Bezlin redemption arc for 45 seconds.
For literally 45 seconds. And then Tuon's like, okay, 2 options. I execute you here and your people will know it's because you resisted the Shanshan invasion. Or I'll allow you to still be king. Look at these sweet statistics showing how much the crime rate has dropped in Ebu Dar. Because we punish criminals.
Because we kill them.
Yeah, we literally have, like, a hanging wall.
Yeah, like, she's like, I can't put his head on a spike outside like I do with the rest of the criminals.
The rest of the riffraff.
Yeah.
God, he's fucking noble born. Or
yeah.
whatever the hell.
So,
And you guys don't care what we do to Aes Sedai because you hate Aes Sedai too, so...
Yeah.
So she's like, or you can live and just be incorporated into my court. Bezlin goes for the latter, and himself is like, are you a Taviran? Because I was not planning on doing that. And there are, like, heavy implications throughout that Tuon is Taviran. I don't know if it's ever, like, confirmed or denied or whatever. But again, this is a missed opportunity if that is the intention, to make Tuon Taviran, to talk about, like, agency in terms of, like,
yeah,
how you deal with fate. Like, it would be an incredibly tragic turn of events if Bezlin was forced to incorporate into the Shanshan Empire because Taviran didn't give him a choice.
Yeah, I think it would add an interesting layer to, like, the discourse of Empire, because, like, ultimately she is not providing him a choice.
Yeah.
His choice is to die or live and try and help his people. And if you are a ruler who is committed to your people, which Bezlin, for all his faults, is,
yeah,
then that's not a choice. It's like, do you want to make sure Tuon doesn't put a member of the Shanshan nobility in charge of your country, or do you want to do it? So, sorry, I just said the same thing twice. But, so she's not giving him a choice. And she's not giving anybody a choice when she's, like, this idea that, like, crime statistics have dropped, exactly like Emily said, it's a choice to either obey the law or literally be hanged. Of course you're going to be more cautious.
Yeah, everyone's terrified of the Shanshan.
Yeah. So Tuon is not providing people choices. We talk extensively about Empire and the lack of agency therein in our We Don't Watch Outlander, where we talked about Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. So not to keep referring you to a paratext, but if you're interested in that, we talk more about it there. So the idea that Tuon is Taviran, influencing everybody to just do whatever she wants to do, I just think would be a really interesting plot mechanic.
Yeah, especially in terms of, like, Rand's dark arc.
Yeah.
In terms of how he uses his Taviran powers versus sort of like Matt and Perrin, who are a little looser and less scary with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tuon makes all these, what she considers to be these wild concessions. Like, she's like, well, we still don't know how your mom died, but if it was our people, then I'll apologize. And it's like...
And everyone's like, oh my god!
What? And Bezlin's like, wow.
Wow, thank you so much.
Wow. bestie, for holding your criminals to the same standard that you hold my people.
Yeah.
Maybe. Ugh. Anyway, Beslin, whether he's being manipulated by fate TM or whether he's just a fucking spineless coward or because he literally doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Although, you know, honestly, if we were being true to Beslin's character, I think he would have opted to die.
Yeah, Beslin was literally ready to just, like, start throwing Molotov cocktails the second the Shanjas showed up in his city.
Yeah, he seemed to believe that there was great power in symbolic resistance.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a little wild that he would be like, sure, I'll live. You know, I'm not disagreeing that there is no real choice there.
Sure, no, yes.
But, like, I do believe Beslin would have made the more symbolic, less logical choice there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is not, like, a functional choice. It's not a choice in when, like, you have two options that would take you down different paths. It's either, like, you have an option to go down one path or, you know, your life ends. But it is a choice, and, like, you can choose to die, and I agree that I think Beslin probably would. And it is especially sad because, like, as we've talked about, Etuarald is the only one who seems to think that, like, there is value in resisting the Shan-Chen no matter what. So it would have been, like, nice to see somebody else do that, even though it'd be like, R.I.P. Beslin.
Yeah. Not that you served much in
No,
terms
you
of
served much.
plot.
This would actually make you the most iconic character in the Wheel of Time. Instead, you're just another flop. So.
Yeah, flop era.
Flop era.
Beslin swears fealty to Tuon using his own terms, and Tuon is like, great. One of the things I learned from Matt is that letting people actually make oaths in terms of their own belief system is more functional than just forcing them to use a random set of words. Go figure.
Yeah.
But Beslin retires, or, you know, moves back so that we can get some of Tuon's military people to step forward and propose plans. First, they're like, the Dragon Reborn wants to set up another meeting. Tuon's like, yeah, I believe that this is the Dragon Reborn, and since we need to stay here, we do need to, like, interface with him in some way. They're like, great, well, we have this sick-ass plan to go attack the White Tower. What a surprise. We're just going to use our, like, flyers, go and capture as many of these Aes Sedai as we possibly can. It'll be a real, you know, get in, get out. A raid, as it were. Tuon asks some questions about whether this is feasible. But they're like, yeah, we think it's totally... We're really committed to it. And Tuon's pretty impressed with all of this. And sort of before she can make a decision one way or another, Ty Lee suddenly arrives and is like, hello, I have brought with me some grisly trophies involving Trollocs heads.
Yeah.
And she's like, warning, I think they're probably coming here. Tuon's like, okay, well, this is not great, but we already knew the last battle was coming. This just makes our interfacing with the Dragon Reborn even more important. And for like a second, she's like, do you think raiding the White Tower will piss off the Dragon Reborn? And everyone's like, we don't really know. And she clearly doesn't consider that to be too much of an issue because, spoiler, she does move ahead with this plan while also moving forward with this meeting with Rand. But Ty Lee is like, we should make allies of these people rather than enemies. And Tuon is just like, yeah, you're probably right. So let's meet with the Dragon Reborn. It's like a really, like, you would think that Ty Lee arriving with this news would prompt Tuon and the rest of the Shan-Chen to, like, maybe put a hold on hostilities, but, I guess they do. Yeah, I guess that will be important. Sorry. Tuon does not give the official go-ahead for this plan yet. She says, basically, we're on hold until we can talk to the Dragon Reborn. Mm-hmm. So it will be Rand's fuck-up in his actual meeting with Tuon that is to come. We have not gotten there yet. That will then cause Tuon to be like, whatever, we're not with the Dragon Reborn anymore, so we can move ahead with attacking the White Tower.
That's nice. Nice to see Rand fail, I guess.
Isn't it?
at this one moment where he no longer apparently is in charge of the universe.
Well, she's Taviran too,
I'm gonna
so...
fucking kill myself.
Stop.
This chapter also really bothers me because, like we've talked about before, the Shanshin, like, omen culture is very interesting, and the way that they make decisions based on omens is very interesting. I think it's just that Tuon bothers me, so every decision that she makes pisses me off.
Yeah.
But the fact that she is just, like, thinking almost more about the omens that she saw than the actual, like, geopolitical decisions ahead of her made me just so mad.
Yeah, it makes her seem incompetent when everything we've been given thus far to understand is that she's hyper-competent. Like, that's what the narrative has been insisting up until this point.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, maybe she's just, like, winging it thus far on the power of being Taviran?
Yeah.
Like, she just seems very, like, yeah, we don't want to, like, discount the cultural use of omens in, like, a Western framework.
Yeah.
But I don't believe using omens alone to make geopolitical decisions is anything that any culture has ever, like, endorsed as a strategy.
Yeah.
They certainly impact decision-making, but...
Yeah, but it's just, like, her decision to turn off hostilities against the Dragon Reborn is, like, immediate. Because she's like, well, I was told I would have a difficult decision to make today, so I guess this is it. Mm-hmm. She makes me so angry.
Yeah, I don't know what there is.
The whole chapter is, like, so rancid. It's just, like, Shanshin culture aggressively thrown in your face. All these hierarchies and elitism and fascism and self-importance. Horrible.
Yeah, and, like, there's just an element of racism there.
Yes.
There are more Shanshin who are canonically black than in any other group besides the Sea Folk, and we've already talked about how the treatment of the Sea Folk betrays racism on the parts of the authors.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is quite telling that Tuon is our main black character in the series.
But, like, every Tylee's black, apparently. Yeah. A couple of these other military guys are black. It's just, like... So... You know, like, the attempt there is to be like, the Shanshin are multicultural. But it's like, okay, but Randland isn't multicultural.
Yeah, Randland is white.
Yeah, white
TM. Mostly. Mm-hmm. Or at least the majority of our main characters are. Yeah, so it's this weird dichotomy of just, like, these really rough people, really difficult people, in the Shanshin, and, like, the racism that comes with Tuon being, like, a quote-unquote difficult woman. But also this upholding of the narrative, like, we've talked about so much, that, like, the Shanshin are correct.
Yeah.
And that, like, look at all these reports we have. Newsflash, an increase of military presence does not actually impact crime one way or the other.
It's so great.
Actually, it probably increases crime because people get criminalized by the police. Anyway, rancid. And next week we have to read a Matt chapter, so rancid.
Well, not next week, actually, in terms of actual timeline. This brings us to housekeeping. Dear listeners, we are about to go on vacation. When you hear this episode, our vacation will have more or less begun. Our episodes of the podcast regular are going to be delayed by a couple of weeks, so the next time you hear from us will be on June 5th. That's when our next episode will be dropped. As a result of us going on vacation, our transcript for this episode might be a little bit delayed.
Yes.
Because we'll be gone, and we'll not be wanting to type up a transcript in that time.
Yeah.
So, just as an FYI, it is still coming, but it will be delayed.
It will be, yes, indeed.
In terms of how this impacts our Patreon content, everything is going to be pushed back by a week. So normally you would expect to see, like, a blog on the 31st. Instead, you're going to get that on the 7th of June. Our We Don't Watch Outlander, our next episode, would be delayed by a week. But, I don't think that will bother most of you.
I hope not.
You're all very gracious in allowing us to take breaks, so...
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, you won't hear from us on social for a couple of weeks. But when we come back, we will be ready to talk about the character assassination of Matt Cathon, which begins literally in the first sentence of the next chapter.
Who can say? We should hold a funeral.
Yeah. A Viking funeral.
Yeah.
Set an arrow on fire and goodbye.
Goodbye, Matrim.
Goodbye, Matt. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Court Jester. You were good once upon a time,
Yeah.
but you've been corrupted.
But that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's all that we've got. A rough couple of chapters in terms of, like, crimes against humanity, but
Yeah.
we'll keep
So
chugging
it's always a
along.
rough episode when you cite Nuremberg.
Really keeps it chipper, you know?
Yeah.
But Grady was there, so...
Grady was there briefly. Just
Grady
to be
was
like,
there
"I'm
begging for
tired."
labor rights. Perry was like, wow, Grady looks pretty sick. Did I almost kill Grady?
And Grady's like, yes.
Fucking...
Lying Greg is like, no, he's doing great. Okay, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to Glenna Mackenzie for our theme song. Thanks to our patrons on Patreon and our followers on social media.
Didn't you also name the Kraken Greg?
I might have, yeah, there's multiple. His name isn't really Greg, that's a lie too.
Well, no one knows what his real name is.
Yeah, it's a mystery. I just love the name Greg.
It's
you know?
a funny name.
It's just like a guy name,
Yeah,
you know?
Greg is just a guy, you
Yeah.
know? Greg is that guy.
It's either a kraken or he's just a liar, a pathological liar.
No, I don't have anything to add except that we'll be excited when we come back, fresh, revitalized,
Yep.
a little jet lagged probably.
Sick of my family, undoubtedly.
I have to get a CT scan like the day we come
yeah.
back, so.
That'll be fun. Do you have a sign off?
Yeah, guys, horribly, my job has decided to participate in rainbow capitalism by having a float at the local Pariah parade.
Pariah parade.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
LGBT rights.
At the local Pride parade, and Pride parade. What is going on?
It's a tough phrase.
Oh, the words don't feel real, and I keep getting emails about it, and it's just like I've been asked multiple times to be on the DEI committee, and I just like refuse.
Yeah.
One, because I think there are more quote unquote diverse voices at my agency that should be on the committee, but also because like I refuse to walk in a pride parade with my corporation.
Yeah. Ick.
I would be in that meeting where they decided this just foaming at the mouth. So, anyway, that's what I've been dealing with.
Homophobia.
Hi,
Happy
gay.
Pride. What?
Do you remember that video where she's like, hi, gay, happy Pride Month?
No.
She's making fun of corporations. She's like pretending to be like a butter shop. It's really good. I'll send it to you.
I can't wait.
Hi, gay.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, gay.